Sai Ram children, good morning. Let's continue with our lesson, that is in English, new voices. Look at this picture. Remember which lesson we are doing? Yes, lesson 13, the selfish child. Until where we are read? Yes, when the children, they returned from the school, every afternoon they used to play in the giant's garden. It was a lovely large garden. And when the giant returned from his friend's visit, that is, returned friend's house after a long stay of 7 years, he found the children playing in his garden. He didn't like it. So what did he do? He built a high wall around the garden and put up a notice board. What was written on the notice board? Trespassers will be prosecuted. Right? So now the children were not having place to play, and they also didn't like to play on the road. So when the spring came, all over the country it was spring. The tree blossomed. Birds used to sing. But in the giant's garden it was still winter. So who are the people who were happy? The snow and the frost. Then they invited North Wind. Then they also asked Hail to visit. So it was cold now. The ground was covered with, we can say, snow. So look at this picture now. Giant sat at the window and is looking out. And he looked at his garden. It was covered with snow, frost. It was cold. And he was wondering why the spring has not arrived. Right? Then what happened? One morning he heard lovely music. He thought that the king musicians were passing by. But when he came out, he saw it was a little linnet singing sweetly. And he also saw the children were playing in his garden. Through a hole they entered the garden. So now the trees blossomed and spring came. But in one corner, what did he see? That still it was winter. A little boy was trying to reach to the tree, branches of the tree. But he was too tiny. So even the trees bent down, he couldn't climb. So seeing this scene, the giant's heart melted. And he thought now he will knock down the wall and he will make this garden as a children's garden only forever. So let's continue what happened further. Lesson 13, the selfish giant. So he crept downstairs and opened the front door quite softly and went out into the garden. But when the children saw him, they were so frightened that they all ran away, and the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see the giant coming. And the giant stole up behind him and took him gently in his hand and put him up into the tree. And the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his 2 arms and flung them round the giant's neck and kissed him. And the other children, when they saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, came running back, and with them came the spring. "It is your garden now, little children," said the giant. And he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were going to market at 12 o'clock, they found the giant playing with the children in the most beautiful garden they had ever seen. All day long they played, and in the evening they came to the giant to bid him goodbye. "But where is your little companion?" he said. "The boy I put onto the tree." The giant loved him the best because he had kissed him. We don't know, answered the children. He has gone away. You must tell him to be sure and come here tomorrow, said the giant. But the children said they did not know where he lived and had never seen him before, and the giant felt very sad. Now here is the question, children. Do you think that the giant's character would have transformed even without that one little boy? Yes, children, think over. And it's a personal response question. So you will come to know when we will complete reading. But afternoon, when school was over, the children came and played with the giant. But the little boy whom the giant loved was never seen again. The giant was very kind to all the children, yet he longed for his first little friend and often spoke of him. How I would like to see him, he used to say. Years went over, and the giant grew very old and feeble. He could not play about any more. So he sat in a huge armchair and watched the children at their games and admired his garden. I have many beautiful flowers, he said, but the children are the most beautiful flowers of all. One winter morning he looked out of his window as he was dressing. He did not hate the winter now, for he knew that it was merely the spring asleep and that the flowers were resting. Suddenly he rubbed his eyes in wonder and looked and looked. It certainly was a marvelous sight. In the farthest corner of the garden was a tree quite covered with lovely white blossoms. Its branches were all golden, and silver fruit hung down from them, and underneath it stood the little boy he had loved. Downstairs ran the giant in great joy, and out into the garden. He hastened across the grass, and came near to the child. And when he came quite close, his face grew red with anger, and he said, Who had dared to wound thee? For on the palms of the child's hands were the prints of the 2 nails, and the prints of 2 nails were on the little feet. Who hath dared to wound thee? Cried the giant. Tell me, that I may take my big sword and slay him. Nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love. Who art thou? Said the giant, and a strange awe fell on him, and he knelt before the little child. What do you think is the strange awe that affected the giant? So this is the question, children, you have to think over. And the child smiled on the giant and said to him, You let me play once in your garden. Today you shall come with me to my garden, which is paradise. And when the children ran in that afternoon, they found the giant lying dead under the tree, all covered with white blossoms. Now a brief explanation of what we have read. So children, we have seen that the giant, what he did when he saw that the tiny boy or little boy was not able to climb the tree, right? And he crept downstairs. Crept means it is past tense of creep. That is very quietly and carefully he came so that nobody notices. And he opened the front door quite softly and went into the garden. When the children saw, they were frightened, that is scared, and they ran away. And again what happened? The garden became winter again. Only the little boy didn't not run. Why? Because his eyes were full of tears, so he could not see the giant coming. And giant also, he quietly from behind stole up the boy and took him gently in his hand and put him onto the tree. And once again the tree blocked into blossom. Birds came and sang on it, and the boy, he kissed the giant, the little boy, right? And when the other children saw this, so they also realized that the giant is not wicked. Wicked means cruel or selfish anymore. He is not cruel. Wicked is cruel. And they also came back running. And the giant, he said to the children, it is not your garden now. And he took a axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people who were passing by, they saw and they found that the giant was playing with the children. And all day long they played. And when they came to say goodbye to the giant, then the giant asked about their companion, little companion, that is little boy. Companion means friend or the person with whom we spend more time. And the other children replied that they don't know about him. And then as the time passed by, the giant became old and feeble. Feeble means weak, or you can say little strength. So he could not play about anymore and he used to sit in the huge armchair and watch the children. And he realized that there are many beautiful flowers, but the children are the most beautiful flowers at all. Remember children, children are the most beautiful flowers of all. And one winter morning, and he looked out of his window, and what did he found? That it was winter. But now he realized winter means it is merely the spring is asleep and the flowers are resting. So this is the, we know, cycle of the seasons, right? Yes. Suddenly he rubbed his eyes in wonder and looked. What did he look? It was a marvelous sight, because he found the little boy, his friend whom he was missing, and he ran downstairs in joy. And what did he find then? He found that the boy's palms and the feet, they were having the wounds, or you can say prints of 2 nails. So he got angry. He asked, who had dared to wound thee? Had means, so this is the old English children, right? Thee means you. And had, these are the old fashioned or old, you can say English, that is has. So he was asking, who has dared to wound you, that is cause injury. Wound means injury. Thee means you. Had, has. And children, try to remember, when we see these 2, there is a prints of 2 nails on the palms and the feet, or that is, yes, we always remember of the Christ, Jesus Christ or God, because these marks were seen on him. And then he got so angry. He said, I will take my big sword and slay him. Slay means kill him. But what did the child answer? He said, nay, no, these are the wounds of love. See, the child is having wounds, he is in pain, but he is saying these are the wounds of love. Then the giant realized. He asked, who are you? Art means are. Who are you? And then a strange awe, there is a mixed feeling of respect also and wonder, that who is this child? Then he realized, he knelt. Knelt is past tense of kneel. And he knelt before the little child. And the child smiled on the giant and said that you let me play once in your garden. See, one good deed giant did. He allowed the child to play. And now he is telling, I will take you, that is, to my garden. And which is his garden? Paradise. So we can say he was a god, or he was God in the form of child. And paradise means heaven. And when the children ran in that afternoon, they found that the giant lying dead under the tree, all covered with white blossoms. Blossom means flowers. So the giant was lying dead. So we can say that the selfish giant has turned into a loving giant. And that may be because of the love with the child, or that little boy, the child, was the first one who had put trust in him. And his heart melted and he became a loving giant. So children, look at this picture. Look at this picture and what you find? That the giant When he found that the little boy was not able to climb the tree, even the trees are bending down, he was not able to. So he quietly stole from behind, he came and took him on his hand and made him sit on the branches of the tree. So look at this picture. Right? Comprehension. Answer this question with reference to the contest. First question. How I would like to see him. Who is the speaker? Yes, children, who said this? How I would like to see him. Yes, answer is the giant. The giant is the speaker. Answer, the giant is the speaker. Next question. Whom did he want to see? Yes, children, whom he was missing? Yes, the little boy, right? So, whom did he want to see? He wanted to see the little boy whom he had held onto the tree. Next question. Why does he miss him? Yes, children, there were other children also playing in the garden. Why does he miss him? Because this was the child who kissed him and who had trust, faith in him, right? So, answer. He misses the little boy because it was on seeing him in pain that he had become a changed giant himself. In a way, the little boy was the first child who had put his trust in him. That's why he was missing the child, right? Okay. State whether the given statements are true or false. First one. The little boy cried when the giant placed him on the tree. Is the statement true or false? Yes, children, it is false. We know when the giant placed the boy on the tree, he flung his arms, that is, and kissed the giant, right? So here it is false. Now next one. Every afternoon when school was over, the children came and played with the giant. The answer is, yes children, it is true. Now we know that the giant has changed, right? So from selfish giant, he has become a loving giant. Every afternoon when school was over, the children came and played with the giant. Yes, the statement is true. Now next question. Write the past tense of kneel. Yes children, past tense of kneel is knelt. So the spelling is K-N-E-L-T. Past tense of kneel, knelt. Then the next word is stand. Past tense of stand. Yes children, it is stood. Past tense of stand, stood. Then next, write the synonym of. Word is weak. And synonym of weak, it is feeble. We have seen the giant, he grew old and became feeble. So it is weak, feeble. And the next word is kill. Kill. Yes children, what is the answer? Kill. Slay. Answer is slay. Kill, slay. Next, it certainly was a marvelous sight. Pick out an adverb from the given sentence. Which is the adverb here children? It certainly was a marvelous sight. Answer is certainly. Right, the adverb is certainly. Right? Certainly is adverb. Now, thank you children. We have completed the lesson. So next time we will start with the new lesson. Sai Ram.